Hey, it's Jolly. I think we're all aware that I've made a return to World of Warcraft for the War Within. As someone who's been playing WoW on and off since vanilla, one thing I've seen across the board is a longing for people to go back home to the WoW that they remember. For many of us, the classic servers just didn't scratch that itch, and some people were left wondering why. I think it's just because you can't go back home again, and definitely not in World of Warcraft. Back in vanilla, there was this new and exciting world with this groundbreaking game that shaped the way many MMOs were being created since. Blizzard was on the top of the heap for a long time, and we kind of ran with them. Many of us, me included, have some really great memories of guilds, events, raids, PvP, and even friends we made along the way. I have some really long term friendships to this day that began in World of Warcraft. There is a comparison to make here before I continue. This is kind of akin to watching your favorite childhood movies or shows over and over again. Watching those shows or movies triggers a feeling of nostalgia, and it may bring you back to a time in your life where you felt safe or happy. This same feeling goes along with certain songs we listen to and certain music. I think World of Warcraft has that same thing attached to it. There are parts of the game that take us back to maybe younger years or times in our life where we felt really happy. But this isn't the same game that we remember from 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago. Mechanics, classes, new systems, and new areas have all changed the game significantly. The community has also changed, and yeah, it's gone through a rough patch. I have my own thoughts on that, but that would be a whole other video altogether. The main thing when talking about the community and the changes there is to realize that preferences change, playstyles change, and sometimes even the game someone wants to play changes. There are times where developers make significant changes in the game. Sometimes they're experimental, and if players don't like the changes, they might roll it back or make another change. In the case of World of Warcraft, a lot of changes were made that most players actually really liked, which means they're here to stay. There have been other changes that are just natural evolution of gameplay, and yeah, there's been changes that are very questionable. Regardless, every change is here for a reason, and many of them aren't going anywhere. I think one of the most jarring changes in World of Warcraft, especially for those of us who are veteran WoW players, was the Cataclysm. Azeroth itself was completely reshaped, and the game world was changed forever. The zones that we used to hang out in while chatting with our guild were gone, the music changed, and in some places, even the overall theme of the place changed. Even though some of the old zones are available on hardcore servers, the old Azeroth we knew isn't here anymore, and I think some people really wish that it was. Each of us has this idea of spaces where we find a comfort zone in the game, and why we keep going back to some cozy spots in our mind, probably replaying memories of our favorite parts of the game or favorite times together with friends or guildmates. I can think of a specific time in Aberdeen, back before Cataclysm, where my guild and I sat down with someone in our guild and just gave them this outpouring of kindness and support that they desperately needed at that time. I actually don't know where any of those people are anymore. I just hope they're having the most amazing lives right now. We can hold on to memories like that as much as we want to. It's actually a good thing that we do. What we can't do is try and recreate those memories because they're not coming back. That specific snapshot of time now exists in our minds. Nothing is going to replace that exact day, time, feelings, and surroundings anymore. I think that some people who are looking for the recreations of these memories probably needed to hear that. Again, they were good memories. You should keep them. You just can't try and bring them back again. Another thing that affected this major change is changes in technology itself. Improvements in graphics, the UI, and game updates can make everything feel a little unfamiliar for us, especially if you've been gone for a long time. Many people will go back and watch videos with the old UI, old talent systems, old mechanics, and old gameplay, getting that little hit of nostalgia of what things were like then. I could keep listing reasons why things are different, but it all boils down to what I said at the beginning. You can't go back home again in WoW because that quote-unquote home isn't there anymore. If you keep coming back to this game chasing a feeling or something that you used to have, you're going to always be disappointed. So what do? Where does it leave you? You make a new home, my friends. If you can't create that new home, it is okay to move on. If you're like me and trying to see if that new home can be created, well, maybe I can help you out a little bit. So here's kind of a few things that I'm doing to see if WoW can be a quote unquote home again in a digital space. First off, I'm kind of embracing the new content. I'm not wishing that a class was what it used to be, certain mechanics were the way they had been. Instead, I'm just looking at all the new stuff with a clean slate. I'm taking it in stride and seeing what I do and I don't like. I'm also trying classes or specs I was never really interested in before. Some of them are fun, some of them are duds. The ones that are fun actually keep me coming back. And I know the community aspect of WoW can be one of the most difficult things for many of us these days. Since I play on role-playing servers, there's a little more of a community that is available to me, at least that's how it feels. Even without a role-playing server though, you can find community. No, it's not easy. It's really hard to depend on guilds. We all know that doesn't always work. And those invite everybody guilds are usually duds. Now, the WoW forums does have a space for people looking for guilds and groups. Believe it or not, most people on those forums care about welcoming new people in and just having a good experience together. There's also the option to talk in dungeons. I know, that's a scary thought. Not always the best idea, but I have found more often than not, a simple hi can get people chatting. I've actually been pleasantly surprised at how many new people I've added to my friends list, added on Discord, and added on Battle.net. Now, I know it's hard to put yourself out there. I know you need to have a little bit of a thick skin in this community. I do think the forum space I mentioned earlier is probably one of the best places if you're a little weirded out about, talking to people or talking in dungeons. I understand a lot of what I said can be a little bit of a hard pill for some of us to swallow. There is a lot in World of Warcraft that you remember and want to hold on to. I know I said before that those memories are really good to have. The problem is we can't hold on to them in a way where we feel like we need to have it back again. Just doesn't work. So instead of waiting for everything to come back, you really do need to try and enjoy what you've got right in front of you. And if you're not enjoying it, that's okay. It just means it's not for you anymore. Sometimes you gotta go looking for something new and you'll be surprised what you find. If you do find yourself enjoying it, well, then it's time to try and make a new home and figure out what that looks like. That's kind of where I'm at right now. So far, so good.